Hello everyone and welcome to the final episode and air pull for the second litter of the Wildfire pack. And what a story it has been, oh my goodness. Yeah, this was kind of a rough litter in a lot of ways, but we're going to be taking a look at the survivors and the puppies who didn't make it, unfortunately. But first off, we're going to actually start by taking a look at Pyra and Nimbus themselves. So Pyra has 2 strength and 1 speed, but -1 stamina and -2 health. She's a very strong wolf, a pretty quick wolf, but not that tanky, and she doesn't have that much endurance. And Nimbus actually has all neutral stats, which I believe is the case because we actually found him before the stat system even existed. We found him right at the start of Amethyst Mountain when it first came out, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, he's older than the stat system itself. But as for the pups, let's go ahead. We'll take a look at them as puppies, and then we will age them up here. So we have Flicker, first of all, who has 1 strength and 1 speed, but -1 stamina and -1 health. A lot like her mom, actually. Not quite as strong. And it looks like she may have a black coat. We'll have to see. She was the smallest of the puppies who survived, but she actually wasn't the runt. If you can see on the screen, we'll be taking a look at him later. But Cole was actually the one who ended up being a runt, which might explain why he ended up dying of illness, unfortunately. We also have Helios, who has 1 strength, -2 stamina, and 1 speed. Again, similar to his mom, but he has a lot more health. Not quite as much strength, but he can definitely take a few more hits, it seems. I wonder if that's what helped him survive through his illness at the end there, because oh my goodness, that was a bit of a close call. We also have Scorch, who she looks like she could have a black coat too. Helios, I'm guessing, probably is a brown one. She has 0 strength, but -1 stamina, -1 health, and 2 speed, so she's actually a little bit faster, even though she's not quite as strong. Once again, has the minus stamina and health, though, just like her mom, and some neutral stats from Nimbus. Now, we also have Smoke, who probably has a gray coat. Did I say Helios has brown? I mean, it is brown, but it'd probably be genetically gray. Who got his dad's entirely neutral stats, apparently. He also looks like he might have a slight bit of Tempest's influence in there, too. Of course, Tempest was Nimbus's brother, who we met on Amethyst Mountain, who seems to somehow be caught up in all of this, it seems like. Now, I wonder what's up with that. Keep your eye out on the channel in the near future here, because we just might have the chance to find out. But of course, even though we will be making these 4 into playable wolves, they're not the only ones from the litter. We're also going to take a look here at Stratus. Oh, she's so small, and she does look a lot like Ash from the first litter. Oh my goodness. For as cute as that coat is, I think it's always going to scare me when a pup inherits it, because it seems to have some bad luck tied to it. Oh my goodness. She had 0 strength, 0 speed, -1 stamina, and actually a plus to health, which is kind of wild because neither of her parents did. But unfortunately, it didn't seem to help her all that much because she passed away of illness not that far into the litter. And last of all, we have Cole, our runt. Oh, he's still so small, and he just had a flat -1 to all of his stats, so I guess he probably inherited his dad's, but as a runt. And that may explain why he was so quick to succumb to illness, poor guy. But we are going to go ahead and make the 4 survivors here into adult wolves. And if you guys are curious to vote for one of them as an heir, then definitely make sure to check the description, because there will also be a link to a quick reference spreadsheet, basically, of all 4 eligible puppies. Now, this will be the heir for the litter. We already have an heir for the first litter, and at the end of Pyra's life, whenever she has all of her puppies, we'll be voting on one to carry on her legacy from across all the litters. So this is just that candidate who will eventually be in the running against pups from the other litters. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and age these guys up, and we will take a look at them as adults. All right, here we are. We have aged up the pups, and it seems like we've got quite a wide variety of coats. Oh my goodness, looking here. So of course, this is Pyra, but I believe these 4 are actually the pups, the grown pups. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at them. Okay, so first up here we have Flicker. She is the 5F member, or was the 5F member of the Wildfire pack. And she actually got, which coat is this? This is the 755M coat. It is a white coat. Well, it's genetically black, but that's interesting because that definitely seems to harken from Nimbus's side of the family. So it's good to see that she's survived. Oh my goodness, whatever's up with the storm curse, I don't know, but we're gonna have to find out, I think. But she also has these really pretty kind of grayish eyes, which I think is a lot like Nimbus, actually. It does kind of harken back to some of the other members of the Elements pack, too, though, because we do see a lot of those gray eyes, especially on the water side of the family. So they do run in Pyra's genes as well. Let's go ahead and listen to her howls, too. Ooh, that's a pretty one. And then for secondary... Oh, a much higher pitched one there. And then let's go ahead and look at her customization. So it doesn't look like she inherited anything. And of course, as for all of our wolves, you can go ahead and find the post to this linked on my Patreon in the video description. And if you have ideas for something that any of these wolves could have inherited as a customization, then make sure you let me know there. You can put a little bit of a story with it, and you'll have the chance to see that potentially pop up for whichever of these wolves we end up playing as. It is something that I'll be going through and taking a look at some of the ideas and seeing if there's any that I feel are fitting and potentially adding them to that character's story from the time that they were pups to the time that they became adults and could potentially become a playable wolf. So as for her stats, we already saw those, but +1 strength and speed, -1 stamina and health, pretty reminiscent of her mom. And of course with the pups, we can't really see their personalities, but you can see some of my guesses in the sheet that's linked in the video description, as well as some info on their challenges, such as how much territory they like, where they like to put their dens, how susceptible they are to fleas and wanting to move, if there's any particular predators or situations that they fear or particularly dislike. But that will all be in the video description, as well as a link to the poll. Now, next up, we have Helios. And he got, wow, that is a really pretty coat, actually. It is the 832F06 coat from Hall of Fame. This is another one of the Yellowstone coats. And it is a genetic gray coat by the looks of it here. And he got these really, really pretty kind of yellowy golden eyes. Very, very pretty wolf. Again, like, I say that about everyone, but there's genuinely not a lot of coats that I don't like. I don't think there's any that I legitimately do not like. The team has done an incredible job on making some very, very cool combinations and making them pretty customizable, too. But let's go ahead and we'll listen to his howls. Ooh, he has a bit of a higher pitched one there, and then for a secondary... bit of a mid-tone one, pretty short too. Again, he's not going to have any of those customizations, but you can find a link to the Patreon post where if you are a member of the Patreon, you can suggest ideas. And as for his stats, he's got that +1 strength, +1 speed, but -2 stamina and neutral health. And again, we can't see his personality, but as for his story, he had quite a wild one. He actually got sick right towards the end of the litter, and he did survive, but barely. He was at 8% health, which is not the lowest we've seen, but it's pretty darn low. And then to top it all off, he almost got grabbed by coyotes right at the last second, right before he would have been too big for them to carry off. Looks like they wanted one last attempt at trying to take a pup just before they wouldn't be able to. But that is Helios, and next up we have Scorch. And ooh, she kind of looks like her dad, and I think this is actually an NPC coat. Yeah, you can see nothing's highlighted here, so I think it's actually a variant off the new version of the original black coat, but it's got a little bit less of a reddish tint. She actually looks a lot like her dad, man. Yeah, because she really doesn't have that red tint that runs on Pyra's side of the family, and she's got almost slightly greenish eyes, too. She's a really pretty wolf for sure. Let's go ahead, we'll listen to her howls. Ooh, that is a higher pitched one, and then for her secondary. a bit of a lower one, so she's got kind of some range. She's not going to have any ear customizations yet, but does look like she rolled the radio collar, which is the one that can toggle on and off. I guess somewhere along the line, some researchers must have decided she seemed interesting and that they wanted to follow her. As for her stats, again, she's got no strength, but +2 speed, so she's a very fast wolf. Doesn't have a lot of stamina or health, though. And as for her story, she had a little bit of a tamer story, but she did seem to be a pretty independent wolf. She was always off sleeping by herself, didn't like to share the grass with her siblings, it seemed. Although all the pups were kind of wanderers, but I do remember Scorch being one of them as well. And then finally, last but not least, we have Smoke. And oh wow, he got a really pretty coat. This seems almost like a combination of Pyra's coat, and then even of a little bit of Tempest's. Again, like with the way genetics work, black kind of overrides whatever's underneath it, and so it's very likely that Nimbus carries a lot of these same really light colored genetics that his brother had. So Smoke almost got some of the lighter colored genes that we saw Tempest was showing. So this is the Bolt's coat from the International Wolf Center Ambassador coats. It's a really pretty one. It's not one I've seen for a while. And he got these kind of grayish, slightly green eyes as well. So very, very, very nice looking wolf. I say that about all of them, but it is true. And let's listen to his howls here. Kind of a mid-toned one, I think. And then for his secondary... Ooh, that's a really high one. Now, ear customizations, of course, and it looks like he didn't roll the radio collar. And then as for his stats, they are completely neutral, just like his dad. He seems to have inherited quite a bit from Nimbus, actually. And as for his story, he was one of the ones who fell ill early in the litter. I think he was actually the one who was first to get sick, but he did end up surviving, fortunately, even though it seems like whatever illness ravaged this litter was particularly bad. So those are our 4 potential heirs from this litter. Again, just to clarify how this is going to work, we will pick an heir for each litter, and then all of those litter heirs will be voted against one another. You'll get to choose between all of the options from each litter at the very end of Pyra's story whenever we see how that concludes. Now, this is going to wrap up this run for Pyra. Don't worry, there will be more Elements Pack content coming out very soon, and maybe, just maybe, even an answer to what seems to be this mysterious Curse of the Storm. And of course, now that Blaze's story is wrapping up with the rest of his littermates, we'll be seeing him and his story once he's ventured off on his own as well soon too. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. But until then, this is Jay, over and out.